The Last Stand. The vast emptiness of space was shattered by the brilliant flashes of plasma cannons and the silent explosions of starships. Admiral Lilina Vega stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, her weathered face illuminated by the holographic displays surrounding her. She watched with a mixture of despair and determination as the last remnants of Earth's defense fleet engaged the Zarnaxian Armada. Status report, Vega barked, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding before her. Lieutenant Commander Ravi Sharma, her tactical officer, responded without taking his eyes off his console. "It's not good, Admiral. We've lost the Intrepid and the Valiant. The Zarnaxian dreadnoughts are pushing through our lines. At this rate, we'll be overwhelmed in less than an hour." Vega's jaw clenched. This was humanity's last stand, their final defense of Earth after a grueling 5-year war that had seen them pushed back from the outer colonies to their home system. The Zarnaxian Empire, a highly militaristic race of reptilian aliens, had steamrolled through the galaxy, their superior numbers and advanced technology proving too much for most species to handle. "What about the Hail Mary?" Vega asked, referring to the experimental weapon Earth scientists had been developing as a last resort. "Still charging, Admiral," replied Dr. Ilara Chen, the chief scientist on board. "We need at least another 30 minutes before it's ready to fire." Vega nodded grimly. "Then we hold the line for 30 minutes, no matter the cost." As if on cue, the ship shuddered violently as a Zarnaxian energy blast struck their shields. Warning klaxons blared throughout the vessel. "Shields at 60% and dropping," shouted the operations officer, Lieutenant Sarah O'Brien. "We can't take much more of this." Vega's mind raced, searching for a solution. They needed more time, but their options were rapidly dwindling. She turned to her XO, Commander Marcus Drake. "Marcus, remember that crazy maneuver we pulled off during the Battle of Proxima Centauri?" Drake's eyes widened in recognition. "The slingshot. But Admiral, that's incredibly risky. We'd be exposing our flank to their entire fleet." "We're out of options, Commander," Vega replied. "Sometimes you have to roll the hard 6. Prepare the fleet for the slingshot maneuver." As Drake relayed the orders, Vega addressed the fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Vega. We're initiating the slingshot maneuver. I know it's dangerous, but it's our only shot at buying the time we need. Remember what we're fighting for, not just Earth, but the future of humanity itself. Let's show these lizards what humans are made of." The response was a chorus of determined acknowledgments. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, humanity's spirit remained unbroken. The fleet began to move in perfect synchronization, smaller ships forming a protective barrier around the larger vessels. The Defiant took point, leading the charge directly towards the heart of the Zarnaxian Armada. "They're taking the bait," Sharma reported. "Zarnaxian ships are moving to intercept." Vega allowed herself a small smile. Now, at her command, the human fleet suddenly split apart, individual ships using their maneuvering thrusters to spin rapidly. The momentum of their charge, combined with the spin, sent them hurtling in seemingly random directions, confusing the Zarnaxian targeting systems. The space around them erupted into chaos as Zarnaxian ships fired wildly, trying to hit the unpredictable human vessels. Some shots found their marks, and Vega winced as she saw friendly ships explode. But the gambit was working. The Zarnaxian advance had been halted, their formation thrown into disarray. "Remarkable," muttered Dr. Chen, momentarily distracted from her work on the Hail Mary. "The randomness of our movements is actually more effective than any planned evasive action could be." Vega nodded. "Sometimes, unpredictability is our greatest weapon." "How much longer on the Hail Mary?" 20 minutes, Admiral," Chen replied. "But we're detecting a massive energy buildup in the Zarnaxian flagship. I think they're preparing to use their planet killer weapon." A hush fell over the bridge. They had seen the devastation wrought by the Zarnaxian planet killer on their colonies. If it fired on Earth, all would be lost. Vega's mind raced. They needed a distraction, something to draw the Zarnaxians' attention away from Earth. Her eyes fell on the ship's self-destruct controls, and a plan began to form. "Lieutenant O'Brien, prepare to vent our plasma relays," Vega ordered. "Commander Drake, have the fleet form up on us. We're going to give the Zarnaxians something to shoot at." As her crew scrambled to obey, Vega opened a channel to the entire fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Vega. We're initiating Operation Firefly. On my mark, vent your plasma relays and go to silent running. Let's light up this battlefield and give Earth a fighting chance." The tension on the bridge was palpable as they waited for Vega's signal. The Admiral took a deep breath, her hand hovering over the control. Now, in an instant, the darkness of space was illuminated by brilliant blue-white plumes of plasma erupting from every human ship. The superheated gas created a dazzling, ever-shifting cloud that obscured sensors and confused targeting systems. "All power to life support and the Hail Mary," Vega ordered as the Defiant's engines went dark. Now we wait. For agonizing minutes they drifted in silence, watching as the Zarnaxian fleet fired blindly into the plasma cloud. Occasionally, a human ship would be hit, its destruction adding to the chaotic light show. "Hail Mary is charged and ready, Admiral," Dr. Chen finally reported, her voice barely above a whisper. Vega nodded, her finger poised over the firing control. "Let's hope this works. For Earth." She pressed the button, and for a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, a beam of pure, blindingly white energy lanced out from the Defiant, cutting through the plasma cloud like a knife. It struck the Zarnaxian flagship dead center, and for a heartbeat, the massive ship seemed unaffected. Then it began to crumble, breaking apart from the inside, as the Hail Mary's energy cascade tore through its systems. The destruction of their flagship sent the Zarnaxian fleet into disarray, and a cheer went up on the Defiant's bridge. But Vega knew the battle was far from over. "All ships, this is Admiral Vega. The enemy is in disarray, but they still outnumber us. Push the attack. For Earth, for humanity. Fight on." As the human fleet surged forward, renewing their assault on the confused Zarnaxians, Vega allowed herself a moment of hope. They had survived this battle against impossible odds, but the war was far from over. Yet for the first time since the Zarnaxian invasion began, she dared to believe that humanity might just have a chance. Little did she know that this battle would be the turning point, the moment when humanity would begin to push back against the galactic invaders. The legend of Earth's last stand would spread across the stars, a testament to human ingenuity, bravery, and the indomitable will to survive. Unexpected allies. The aftermath of the battle against the Zarnaxian fleet left Earth's defenders exhausted but triumphant. As the dust settled and damage reports flooded in, Admiral Lilina Vega found herself in a hastily convened meeting with the United Earth government's top brass. President Lydia Acosta's hologram flickered to life in the Defiant's conference room. Despite the victory, her expression remained grim. "Admiral Vega, while your actions have bought us time, our situation remains dire. The Zarnaxians will regroup and return with an even larger force." Vega nodded, her face etched with the weariness of prolonged conflict. "Agreed, Madam President. We need to use this reprieve wisely. Our fleet is in tatters, and the Hail Mary weapon drained our resources significantly. We need allies." "Allies?" General Zhao scoffed from his corner of the holographic display. "Who's left? The Zarnaxians have conquered or cowed every spacefaring race we know of." As if in answer to Zhao's pessimism, Lieutenant Commander Sharma burst into the room, his usual composure shattered by excitement. "Admiral, we're picking up an unidentified ship approaching at FTL speeds. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Vega's hand instinctively moved to her sidearm. "Zarnaxian reinforcements already." Sharma shook his head. "No, ma'am. It's not Zarnaxian. The energy signature is completely alien to our databases." President Acosta leaned forward, her hologram flickering. First contact with a new species. Now, before anyone could respond, a new voice filled the room. Melodious, almost musical, yet clearly artificial. Greetings, defenders of Earth. We are the Elorians. We come in peace and offer our assistance in your fight against the Zarnaxian Empire. A stunned silence fell over the room. Vega was the first to recover. I am Admiral Elena Vega of Earth's Defense Fleet. We appreciate your offer, but forgive our caution. We've had unfortunate experiences with alien contact recently. A shimmer of light coalesced in the center of the room, forming into a holographic representation of an alien being. The Elorian was tall and slender, with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors like oil on water. Its large, almond-shaped eyes blinked serenely at the assembled humans. We understand your caution, Admiral Vega. The Elorian spoke, its mouth not moving, the words seemingly projected directly into their minds. We are the Elorians, a race dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge and the preservation of sentient life. We have observed your conflict with the Zarnaxians from afar, and we can no longer stand idle. President Acosta stepped forward, her hologram overlapping slightly with the Elorians. Why now? Why didn't you help when the Zarnaxians first attacked? The Elorians' colors rippled, conveying a sense of regret. Our society is built on principles of non-interference and pacifism. But the Zarnaxians' brutality has forced us to reconsider our stance. Your recent victory, achieved against overwhelming odds, has convinced us that your species may be the key to stopping the Zarnaxian threat. Vega's tactical mind was already racing. You mentioned offering assistance. What exactly can you provide? The Elorian's form shimmered, and suddenly the room was filled with holographic displays of sleek, advanced ships and technologies beyond human comprehension. Our technology is far beyond that of the Zarnaxians. We can offer you shields capable of withstanding their strongest weapons, engines that can outmaneuver their fastest ships, and energy weapons that can penetrate their strongest defenses. General Zhao, who had been silent until now, spoke up. This seems too good to be true. What's the catch? The Elorian's colors shifted to a deep blue. The catch, as you put it, is that we cannot operate these technologies ourselves. Our physiological aversion to violence prevents us from engaging in combat directly. We need you, humans, to be our hands in this fight. Vega exchanged glances with President Acosta. The offer was tempting, but the stakes were high. Trusting an unknown alien race could be humanity's salvation, or its downfall. We'll need time to discuss this, Vega said carefully, and we'll want to verify your claims about this technology. The Elorian nodded, its form already beginning to fade. Of course, we will remain in orbit and await your decision. But be swift, Admiral Vega. The Zarnaxians will not grant you the luxury of time. As the alien vanished, the room erupted into heated discussion. Vega turned to Dr. Chen, who had been quietly observing the exchange. Doctor, I want you to assemble a team. If the Elorians allow it, you'll be inspecting their technology. I need to know if it's genuine and, more importantly, if we can use it. Chen nodded eagerly, her scientific curiosity piqued. Yes, Admiral. I'll gather our best minds right away. Over the next few days, Earth's remaining ships buzzed with activity. Elorian representatives, always appearing as holograms, guided human scientists and engineers through their vessel. The technology was as advanced as promised, perhaps even more so. Dr. Chen's report to Admiral Vega was tinged with awe. It's incredible, Admiral. Their energy manipulation is centuries beyond ours. With this technology, we could not only match the Zarnaxians but surpass them. Vega nodded, her decision already made. She opened a channel to the Elorian ship. This is Admiral Vega. We accept your offer of alliance. Let's show the Zarnaxians what happens when they push peaceful races too far. The response was immediate. The Elorian's voice filled with what could only be described as relief. We are gratified by your decision, Admiral. Let us begin the integration of our technologies immediately. Time is of the essence. As human crews began the painstaking process of retrofitting their ships with Elorian tech, Vega couldn't shake a feeling of unease. They were betting everything on this alliance. If it failed, humanity would fall. But if it succeeded, they might just have a chance at turning the tide of this war. Little did they know that light years away, in the heart of Zarnaxian space, the Empire was already preparing its counterstroke. The battle for Earth had been lost, but the Zarnaxian Emperor was far from defeated. As his war council gathered, his cold, reptilian eyes narrowed with malice. "So," he hissed, "the humans think they've won a victory. Let them celebrate while they can. Soon, they will learn the true meaning of Zarnaxian might." As both sides prepared for the next confrontation, the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy hung in the balance. The war was about to enter a new phase, one that would test the limits of human ingenuity and Elorian technology against the ruthless determination of the Zarnaxian war machine. Operation Trojan Horse. The integration of Elorian technology into Earth's remaining fleet progressed at a feverish pace. Admiral Elena Vega stood in the newly refitted hangar bay of the UES Defiant, marveling at the gleaming upgrades adorning the ship's hull. What once resembled a patchwork of battle scars and hasty repairs now shone with an otherworldly iridescence, a testament to the Elorians' advanced tech. "Impressive, isn't it?" Dr. Chen's voice startled Vega from her reverie. The scientist's eyes sparkled with excitement as she approached, datapad in hand. "The Elorian shield matrix alone has increased our defensive capabilities tenfold, and the quantum drive. We could reach the edge of the galaxy in days instead of years." Vega nodded, a mixture of hope and apprehension churning in her gut. "It's a game changer, all right. But will it be enough?" Before Chen could respond, Commander Drake's voice crackled over the comms. "Admiral, we're picking up multiple Zarnaxian signatures entering the system. It's a massive fleet, at least 3 times the size of the force we faced in the last battle." Vega's jaw clenched. So much for the element of surprise. All hands to battle stations. Let's see what this new tech can do. As the crew scrambled to their posts, Vega made her way to the bridge. The main view screen flickered to life, displaying a sea of Zarnaxian warships advancing towards Earth. At their center loomed a colossal vessel that dwarfed even their largest dreadnoughts. "What in the name of?" Vega breathed. The Elorian representative, materializing beside her, supplied the answer. "It appears to be a Worldbreaker-class superweapon. We've only heard rumors of such ships. Its main cannon has the power to shatter a planet's crust." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. The stakes had just been raised exponentially. Vega's mind raced, analyzing and discarding strategies at lightning speed. A frontal assault, even with their upgraded fleet, would be suicide. They needed something unexpected, something the Zarnaxians wouldn't see coming. Her eyes fell on a holographic display of the Elorian cloaking device, and a daring plan began to form. "Dr. Chen," Vega said, her voice tight with urgency, "how small can we make that cloaking tech?" Chen blinked, caught off guard by the question. "Well, theoretically, we could miniaturize it to fit on a shuttle." "Why do you ask?" A grim smile played across Vega's lips. "Because we're going to pull off the biggest Trojan horse operation in history." Over the next hour, as the Zarnaxian fleet drew ever closer, Vega outlined her audacious plan. A small team would use a cloaked shuttle to infiltrate the Worldbreaker. Once aboard, they would sabotage its main weapon and defensive systems, leaving it vulnerable to attack. "It's insane," General Joe sputtered when informed of the plan. "The risk is necessary." Vega cut him off. "We're out of options and out of time. This is our only shot at taking out that superweapon before it can target Earth." President Acosta, her hologram flickering with barely contained tension, gave a curt nod. "Do it, Admiral. Godspeed." As preparations for the mission kicked into high gear, Vega assembled her team. Commander Drake would lead the operation, accompanied by Dr. Chen for her technical expertise, and a squad of Earth's most elite Special Forces operatives. In the shuttle bay, as the team made final checks on their equipment, Vega addressed them. "I won't lie to you. This mission is beyond dangerous. But every one of you volunteered because you know what's at stake. Not just Earth, but the future of our entire species. You carry the hopes of humanity with you." Drake met her gaze, his expression resolute. "We won't let you down, Admiral." As the shuttle's engines hummed to life, cloaking field shimmering around it, Vega felt a lump form in her throat. "Good hunting," she managed, before the bay doors opened and the small craft slipped out into the void. The next few hours were among the most tense of Vega's life. She watched as the human fleet engaged the Zarnaxians in a desperate holding action, their new Elorian-enhanced weapons and shields evening the odds but still vastly outnumbered. "Any word from the insertion team?" she asked for what felt like the 100th time. Lieutenant O'Brien shook her head. "Nothing yet, Admiral. But no news could be good news. If they'd been discovered," she left the sentence unfinished. "They all knew what would happen if the team was caught." Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. "Admiral," Sharma shouted, "the World Breaker. It's powering up its main cannon." Vega's heart sank. Had the mission failed? Was this the end? But then, just as hope seemed lost, the massive Zarnaxian vessel suddenly went dark. Its weapons powered down, shields flickered and died, and it began to drift aimlessly in space. A cheer went up across the bridge as Drake's voice crackled over the comms. "Defiant, this is Eagle Team. Package delivered. I repeat, package delivered. The big bad wolf is declawed and ready for the taking." Vega allowed herself a moment of exultation before snapping back into action. "All ships, this is Admiral Vega. Converge on the World Breaker. Hit it with everything we've got." What followed was a testament to human determination and Elorian technology. The Earth fleet swarmed the crippled superweapon, their enhanced weapons tearing through its once impenetrable hull. The surrounding Zarnaxian ships, caught off guard by the sudden turn of events, fell into disarray. As the World Breaker erupted in a cataclysmic explosion, taking a significant portion of the Zarnaxian fleet with it, Vega knew the tide of the war had finally turned. "Bring our people home," she ordered, a rare smile gracing her features. "And send word to all human colonies and resistance cells. Operation Trojan Horse was a success. It's time to take the fight to the Zarnaxians." As the battered but victorious Earth fleet regrouped, the news of their impossible victory spread like wildfire across the galaxy. For the first time since the war began, hope blossomed in the hearts of countless oppressed species. The Zarnaxian Empire had suffered its first major defeat, and humanity had proven itself a force to be reckoned with. But Vega knew this was just the beginning. The real battle for the future of the galaxy was about to begin. The tables turn. The destruction of the Zarnaxian Worldbreaker sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. For the first time in living memory, the seemingly invincible empire had tasted defeat. As news of the human victory spread, subjugated species across countless worlds began to whisper of resistance and rebellion. Admiral Elena Vega stood before a holographic map of the galaxy, studying the shifting lines of conflict. Red markers indicating Zarnaxian control were slowly being pushed back by the advancing blue of the human-led alliance. "Report," she commanded, her voice tinged with cautious optimism. Commander Drake, still bearing scars from the Trojan Horse mission, stepped forward. "The Arcturian system has been liberated, Admiral. The Zarnaxian occupation force surrendered after our fleet demonstrated the power of our new Elorian-enhanced weapons." Dr. Chen, who had been poring over data streams, looked up from her console. "Even better, we've managed to reverse engineer some of the Zarnaxian tech we captured from the Worldbreaker. I think we can integrate it with our Elorian systems to create something unprecedented." Vega raised an eyebrow. "Unprecedented how?" Chen's eyes gleamed with excitement. A weapon that could potentially disable entire Zarnaxian fleets without destroying them. A sort of mass EMP, if you will. The implications were staggering. Such a weapon could end battles before they began, saving countless lives on both sides. Get to work on it immediately, Vega ordered. If we can end this war without further bloodshed, all the better. As the weeks passed, the tide of the war continued to turn. Human ingenuity, combined with Elorian technology and the desperate courage of freed alien races, proved a formidable combination against the rigid Zarnaxian military doctrine. But the Empire was far from defeated. In the heart of Zarnaxian space, Emperor Zorak raged against his generals. How? He hissed, his scales flushing dark with anger. How have these pitiful mammals managed to push us back? We conquered half the galaxy. We are the Zarnaxian Empire. High General Vex, her own scales pale with fear, stepped forward. My Emperor, the humans, they're unlike any species we've encountered. They adapt, they innovate, and now they've united much of the galaxy against us. Zorak's eyes narrowed. Then we shall remind the galaxy why they feared us. Prepare the Void Hammer. A collective gasp went up from the assembled generals. The Void Hammer was a weapon of last resort, capable of creating artificial black holes. Its use had been forbidden by the Emperor himself, deemed too destructive even for their conquests. But sire, Vex protested, the collateral damage will be a fitting punishment for those who dare defy us. Zorak snarled. Deploy it against the human homeworld. Let's see how they innovate their way out of a singularity. Back on the Defiant, alarms blared as sensors detected a massive energy buildup in Zarnaxian space. What is it? Vega demanded, striding onto the bridge. Sharma's fingers flew over his console. Unknown, Admiral. But the energy readings are off the charts. Whatever it is, it's big, and it's headed straight for Earth. Vega's blood ran cold. They had come so far, achieved so much, they couldn't lose it all now. Dr. Chen, she barked into her comm, please tell me that new weapon of yours is ready. Chen's voice came back, breathless with excitement and fear. We just finished the final calibrations, Admiral. It's untested, but it'll have to do. Vega cut her off. Get it to the main weapon bay. Now, as the Defiant and its escort fleet moved to intercept the incoming threat, the true nature of the Void Hammer became clear. A roiling mass of dark energy, warping space-time around it, hurtled towards Earth. My God, Drake whispered. It's some kind of artificial black hole generator. Vega's jaw set in grim determination. Then we stop it here. Prepare to fire the EMP weapon on my mark. The bridge fell silent as the Void Hammer drew closer. They would only get one shot at this. Fire. A pulse of blue-white energy erupted from the Defiant, expanding in a wave that engulfed the Void Hammer and the Zarnaxian ships escorting it. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one by one, the Zarnaxian vessels went dark, their systems overloaded by the pulse. The Void Hammer itself began to destabilize, its carefully controlled energies spiraling out of control. All ships, full reverse, Vega shouted. Get us out of here. The human fleet barely managed to clear the blast radius as the Void Hammer collapsed in on itself, creating a short-lived but intensely powerful gravitational disturbance that tore apart the disabled Zarnaxian ships. As the chaos subsided, a stunned silence fell over the bridge of the Defiant. They had done it. They had stopped the Zarnaxians' ultimate weapon. Status report, Vega demanded, her voice hoarse. The Zarnaxian fleet has been neutralized, Sharma reported, disbelief evident in his voice. The EMP weapon worked better than we could have hoped. And the Void Hammer, it's gone. Admiral, we did it. A cheer went up across the bridge, quickly spreading throughout the ship and the entire fleet. But Vega's expression remained serious. Send word to all our allies, she ordered. The Zarnaxians just played their last card. It's time we end this, once and for all. As the human-led alliance prepared for their final push into the heart of the Zarnaxian Empire, news of the Void Hammer's destruction spread rapidly. Across the galaxy, oppressed species rose up against their weakened overlords. The once mighty Zarnaxian war machine found itself besieged on all fronts. In his palace on the Zarnaxian homeworld, Emperor Zorak watched as his empire crumbled. The humans and their allies were approaching, unstoppable now. For the first time in his long life, the Emperor felt fear. The final battle for the fate of the galaxy was about to begin. And humanity, once on the brink of extinction, now stood poised to shape the future of all sentient life. A new dawn. The Zarnaxian capital world, Zarkresh, loomed large in the view screen of the UES Defiant. Its once impregnable orbital defenses lay in ruins, a testament to the fierce battle that had raged for the past week. Admiral Elena Vega stood at the helm, her posture rigid with tension, as she surveyed the planet below. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. Commander Drake, his uniform bearing fresh scorch marks, stepped forward. "The last of the Zarnaxian fleet has been neutralized, Admiral. Our ground forces, along with our allies, had secured most major cities. The Imperial Palace is the last holdout." Dr. Chen, who had been monitoring communications, looked up from her console. "We're receiving a transmission from the palace, Admiral. It's Emperor Zorak himself." A hush fell over the bridge as Vega nodded. "Put it through." The screen flickered, revealing the face of the Zarnaxian Emperor. His scales, once a vibrant green, now seemed dull and ashen. His eyes, however, still burned with defiance. "So," Zorak hissed, "the mammals have come to gloat at last." Vega's expression remained impassive. "This isn't about gloating, Emperor. This is about ending a war that has cost billions of lives across the galaxy. Surrender now, and we can avoid further bloodshed." Zorak's laugh was cold and bitter. "Surrender? To primitives who, mere cycles ago, were barely able to leave their own planet? I think not. The Zarnaxian Empire has ruled this galaxy for millennia. We will not bow to upstart apes." "Your empire is finished, Zorak," Vega countered, her patience wearing thin. "Your fleets are destroyed. Your worlds are in open revolt. How many more of your people must die for your pride?" For a moment, something like doubt flickered in the Emperor's eyes, but it was quickly replaced by a maniacal gleam. "If we cannot rule the galaxy, then no one shall. Behold the legacy of the Zarnaxian Empire." The transmission cut off abruptly. Alarms blared across the bridge as sensors detected a massive energy spike from the planet's surface. "What's happening?" Vega demanded. Sharma's fingers flew over his console. "It's some kind of doomsday device, Admiral. They're channeling the planet's core energy. If it goes off, it'll take out half the system." Vega's mind raced. They had come so far, sacrificed so much. She couldn't let it end like this. "Options," she barked. Dr. Chen spoke up, her voice trembling but determined. "The EMP weapon. If we can modify it to target their specific energy signature, we might be able to shut it down. But we'd need to be much closer to the surface." "How close?" Vega asked, already knowing she wouldn't like the answer. Chen swallowed hard. "Atmosphere skimming close. It would be a one-way trip for whoever goes down there." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. Then, to everyone's surprise, the Elorian representative stepped forward, its holographic form shimmering with determination. "We have observed your courage, your resilience, your capacity for both destruction and compassion," it said. "Now let us show you ours. We will pilot the mission." Vega blinked in surprise. "But your pacifism." "Sometimes," the Elorian interrupted, "the greatest act of peace is to stop those who would endlessly wage war. We cannot fire the weapon, but we can guide the ship. The choice is yours, Admiral." Vega nodded, a lump forming in her throat. "Do it." What followed was a blur of activity. The EMP weapon was hastily modified, and loaded onto a small, agile craft. The Elorian consciousness was transferred into the ship's systems, granting it unprecedented control and maneuverability. As the craft launched towards the planet's surface, Vega and her crew watched with bated breath. It danced through the remains of orbital platforms, weaving past desperate Zarnaxian fighters, plunging into the atmosphere in a ball of fire. Energy levels from the Doomsday device are reaching critical, Sharma shouted. Just when all seemed lost, a pulse of familiar blue-white energy erupted from the planet's surface, expanding outward in a shimmering wave. For a moment, every electronic device in the system flickered. Then, silence. "Report," Vega demanded, her voice barely above a whisper. "The Doomsday device. It's offline," Chen said, disbelief evident in her voice. "They did it. They actually did it." A cheer went up across the bridge, quickly spreading throughout the ship and the entire fleet. But Vega's expression remained solemn. The victory had come at a great cost. In the days that followed, the last pockets of Zarnaxian resistance were quelled. Emperor Zorek was found in the ruins of his palace, choosing to end his own life rather than face defeat. With the Empire's fall, a new era of galactic cooperation began to take shape. Representatives from dozens of species gathered on Earth for a historic summit. Admiral Vega, hailed as the architect of victory, addressed the assembled delegates. "We stand here today not as conquerors, but as equals," she began. "The Zarnaxian Empire sought to dominate, to rule through fear and might. We choose a different path. Let us build a galaxy of mutual respect, of shared knowledge and resources. Let the sacrifices made in this war be a reminder of the cost of tyranny and the value of freedom." As the delegates applauded, Vega's gaze fell on the Elorian representative. Though they had lost one of their own in the final battle, their sacrifice had opened the door to a new understanding between their species and humanity. "The road ahead will not be easy," Vega continued. "Old wounds will take time to heal. But together, we can forge a future brighter than any single species could achieve alone. This is not the end of our journey, but a new beginning." As the summit concluded, ratifying the formation of a new galactic cooperative, Vega found herself looking up at the stars. They had faced extinction, defied an empire, and emerged victorious. But the real challenge, building a lasting peace, was just beginning. Yet as she watched representatives from once warring species mingling, sharing ideas and hopes for the future, Vega felt something she hadn't experienced in years: hope. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The dawn of a new galactic age had arrived, and humanity, against all odds, had survived to help shape it.